You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Bruce Weber's in his first year as the head man at Kansas State. He's got his Wildcats off to a 7-1 start. His star, Rodney Magruder, and the Wildcats in Seattle to take on Elias Harris and the 14th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs. Beautiful time of the year here in the Pacific Northwest. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of college basketball. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Kansas State here in Seattle to take on the 14th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs inside the Key Arena. And hi everyone, Dave Fleming along with Fran Fraschillo. We should have a great atmosphere. We're a long way from the Gonzaga campus. This game played across state. It's a holiday tradition to have a game here this time of year. We've got a good matchup here tonight for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, still 14th ranked team of the country, Fran, but feeling a little ornery after losing to Illinois the last time out.
Well, last week at the McCarthy Center, Brandon Paul came in there and lit Gonzaga up. That was a point of emphasis this week at Gonzaga practices, even though they were in the midst of final exams.
So Gonzaga coming off the loss. Meanwhile, Kansas State off to a 7-1 start, Fran, but they don't have a lot of tests so far early in this season.
Exactly. The one loss was to a great Michigan team. Key for Kansas State, they do not have a player averaging 13 points a game. Of course, their go-to guy this year is Rodney Magruder.
All right, Fran, as we get ready for our opening tip, let's go through our one-on-one.
One thing that hasn't changed in Kansas State under Bruce Weber, familiar Frank Martin, Bobby Huggins, the defense. And you see the rebound margin, always a staple of the Wildcats. Gonzaga, on the other hand, perimeter defense, a point of emphasis, as we mentioned. You see what Illinois guards were able to do last week in Spokane.
Starting lineups here in Seattle. First for the Kansas State Wildcats. Angel Rodriguez, Will Spradling, good sophomore tandem in the backcourt, and then Thomas Gibson. A lot of size down low to go along with the Wooden Award candidate Rodney Magruder. On the other side for the Bulldogs of Gonzaga, who have a lot of fans here at the Key Arena. Kevin Pangos going through a shooting slump, but an ultra-talented player, Elias Harris, the Wooden Award candidate himself. Power forward for Mark Few's team as we get set to go from Seattle. Great holiday atmosphere for college basketball tonight.
Great city, a lot of great shopping for Zag fans who made the trip over, and a chance for a lot of their fans that live in the western part of the state to see the Zags play.
A city with incredible basketball history with the Supersonics and their success here. The opening tip controlled by Kansas State, so the Wildcats will have the first possession of this game.
Man-to-man by Gonzaga. They mix up their defenses. Last week they opened and played a lot of zone early versus Illinois. I think they want to get back to establishing a defensive identity after what Brandon Paul was able to do.
As you talked about just a moment ago, that has been the emphasis all week. Shot clock under 10 and a steal by Pangos. Zags also like to run. Guy Landrietti missed the layup in transition. And now it's Kansas State coming the other way.
Boy, if Kansas State can get out and get some transition baskets, it will really help them because they tend to struggle at times in the half court.
Not the same kind of firepower that the Bulldogs feature. Nino Williams handed back to Will Spradling. Kind of a sloppy handoff and a near turnover. Shot clock down to 5. Magruder shoots a tough 3, no good. But Williams tracks down the offensive rebound.
Well, there's a good example right there. People talk about Rodney Magruder's shooting going down this year as a senior, but he's not getting the kind of quality shots that he has in the past. It's a function of working on that motion offense.
Spradling in that elbow area. Williams double team, very difficult shot, but another Kansas State offensive rebound.
This is what they do well.
Third chance, and Spradling hits the 3.
Not pretty, but that was textbook Kansas State offense. Offensive rebound leading to easy baskets.
Elias Harris, what a move. Very strong, scores the first bucket for Gonzaga.
Harris does not have a left hand, but he likes to go left.
You saw that graphic there. Gibson misses the shot. Harris with the defensive board. Kansas State better than anybody in the country. Offensive rebounding. We've seen that early. That was a sloppy pass and a Gonzaga turnover.
DeLandre had a couple sloppy turnovers early in the Illinois game, and he didn't see a lot of time.
Here's a three off iron from Angel Rodriguez. Up-tempo game so far.
I think that favors Gonzaga, who comes in one of the leading scoring offensive teams in the country. The versatility of Elias Harris this year has been really impressive.
His is a much more well-rounded game than it used to be. What a pass and a layup for Nino Williams.
And you saw the strength of Angel Rodriguez getting into the lane against Watt, Dave. That soft perimeter Gonzaga defense.
That's got to be an early red flag for Mark Few and company. Rodriguez created that basket for Williams. Olynyk has some game from behind the arc. He's got range outside. Here's Pangos. Olynyk used the shot fake, had it stripped away by Rodriguez. On the move, Magruder attacks into the lane. A lot of contact, no whistle. And Eddie hits the ground hard. That'll be a foul against the Wildcats.
Senior year, Elias Harris has really developed a comfort level with who he is. He's versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. But there it is, that ability to go high-low and then breaking down that Gonzaga defense, something that Illinois exploited last week.
Head coach of the Gonzaga Bulldogs in his 14th year, 794 career winning percentage. Just amazing success. Mark Few at the helm of this Gonzaga program. Zags have the ball, made a couple of substitutions. The big freshman, Przemek Karnowski from Poland, is in. So is Kyle Dranginis, another freshman for the Zags. Karnowski takes up a lot of space down low. Harris on the move, finds the big man, who is a lefty. Missed the shot, rebound Dranginis. Harris wide open. Too strong on the three. Rodriguez whips a pass down low, and the shot blocked by Karnowski. Jordan Henriquez lost it out of bounds.
Well, this guy is 7'1". He's about 290. Henriquez a big guy, but watch Karnowski. He doesn't even have to leave his feet. That's a smart play for a young big guy. But remember, this young man has an awful lot of international experience for his age.
A guy you know a lot about from spending the time you have over across the Atlantic, working with European basketball. Karnowski away from the basket, not as comfortable out there at this point. Harris has been very aggressive early on. That'll be an offensive foul.
And Nino Williams doing the dirty work. The defense so far for Gonzaga, not bad.
But you've been talking, Fran, about that Zags defense. It was a concern last week. When we come back, Fran's going to talk about what Gonzaga's doing to try to clean that up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And Acura. Acura Advance.
Kansas State leads by 1, but only shooting 25% in the early going. And this week at practice for Gonzaga, there was a point of emphasis on perimeter defense. Take a look at what Brandon Paul was able to do last week. Watch the defender go underneath the screen. Elias Harris will show and get back, but that's too much room to give a shooter like Brandon Paul. Now, next example, the switch. They switched often at times into mismatches. Kelly Olynyk trying to guard Paul. So what does he do? Use his quickness to get to the rim. And then poor communication. Watch the two defenders from Gonzaga come together. Confusion, that opens up the driving lane. So why does Gonzaga have its first loss of the season? It's because of what they didn't accomplish, Dave, on the defensive end.
Mark Few talks a lot about how fans, sometimes even those of us who follow college basketball as closely as we do, focus on offensive execution, but defense requires that same level of concentration execution, and the Zags just fell short against the Illini.
And against a really good player, too, when you think of what Brandon Paul has accomplished for John Gross this year as a senior. Zags showed a little bit of pressure. Now back to man.
Paul's former coach, of course, Bruce Weber, here coaching Kansas State. Brandon Paul had 35 against Gonzaga last weekend. Baseline shot. Williams misses. Rebound Zags.
That's not Williams' game. He's an energy guy, making his living playing near the basket right now.
Karnowski and Olynyk both in at the same time. Karnowski trying to make his move. Good defense by Enriquez, and that's a Gonzaga turnover.
Well, when you're a big guy like Karnowski and you get it inside, Dave, if you have it in there for 3 seconds, you have to shoot it. Once you pass it, the referee is going to always call 3 seconds.
Same thing we're seeing here, Fran. The show of the pressure from Gonzaga.
Kansas State, not a pick and roll type of team. They run some. You'd be surprised if they don't try to see if they can exploit those bigs of Gonzaga.
Perhaps not quite as equipped to take advantage of that as Illinois was. Well, here we go. Rodriguez finds his way into the lane, had it stripped away. Gonzaga has it. Bang goes to Olynyk, lays it in.
The big foul, Karnowski, took the defender all the way to the rim, and that opened up the lane for Olynyk.
Gonzaga has the lead by 1 now. 5+ minutes in. Rodney Magruder. Rodriguez shoots a 3, hits a 3.
That's important. Angel Rodriguez and a foul by Williams. Angel Rodriguez perimeter game would really help Bruce Weber's offense.
Williams very frustrated after committing that foul.
Well, there's the kick out. Rodriguez only 33% on the year. He's a young guy as a sophomore that can make shots, but it's a matter of him picking the ones that he's going to shoot a high percentage with.
Second foul against Nino Williams. He goes to the bench. Freshman DJ Johnson has come in for Kansas State. So is Martavius Irving. Olynyk fumbled it initially. Now trying to make a move. Kelly Olynyk loses it out of bounds. That's a Gonzaga turnover.
One of the things that I didn't like last week against Illinois, Gonzaga had bad body language, looking for calls, looking for the officials to bail them out. Same thing right there. Olynyk's got to play through that.
More of this pressure from Gonzaga. That very dangerous pass. Enriquez, not much of a scorer, airballed the jump shot. Here's David Stockton into the game. Van Guinness gets a touch for Sam Dower. Big-time scorer off the bench. A lefty, tough shot, no good. Enriquez playing very good defense since he's come into this one.
And what you have with Kansas State, remember, is you have really good size. You're talking about Enriquez. Gibson's a big guy. DJ Johnson, the freshman, bulky. We haven't seen Diaz yet. So this kind of length, it'll be interesting to see if it bothers the Zags front line that's very effective inside.
Olynyk committed that personal foul. The Wildcats haven't turned it over against the pressure, but they haven't looked real comfortable against it either.
Absolutely.
Irving matched up with Stockton here.
Here comes a little screen and roll. Let's see how they handle it. Good show, right?
Worked. Spradling gave it up. Now Irving, shot clock is winding down. They got to get a shot off, and they don't do it.
Hey, that's what you work on in practice when you get torched by Brandon Paul. Good effort right there by the bigs to show and recover, and then to show and stay as the clock runs down.
And I think really one of the interesting parts about this matchup, Gonzaga-Kansas State, is the Wildcats desire to see if they can get something done like Illinois did, but maybe lacking the personnel to take advantage of it like Illinois did.
That's why I said earlier, if you can run and get out in transition and get a few easy ones, you won't have to work as hard in the half court.
I think you would have to say so far, right, that this game is played the way Kansas State wants it to be played.
Well, you know why? They're winning.
Yeah, sort of obvious.
Yeah.
Olynyk spins and gets a nice touch. He is so improved. He's got 6 early, 6 of the 8 for the Zags.
The coaching staff told me over the summer, wait till you see Kelly Olynyk, because he's bulked up and he doesn't have to just shoot jump shots now.
Redshirted last year and really took advantage of it. Diaz on the perimeter. Kansas State not getting looks. Irving along the baseline. Tough shot, but a good shot. Shane Southwell, the junior, his first bucket.
A young man out of Harlem, New York, has been in and out of Bruce Weber's doghouse, but he's had his moments in his 3 years at Kansas State. Versatile player, good passer.
And somebody who can provide some of that offense off the bench that Kansas State really desperately needs. Stockton ran into the big bodies inside. Olynyk, nice use of that shot fake to create a look for David Stockton, who missed the shot. In transition, Rodriguez, another three.
Well, you like his moxie, man. Kind of gives you a little bit of that J.J. Barea confidence and cockiness. Both young men from the Commonwealth to Puerto Rico.
Olynyk has done the bulk of the offense. Dower contributes with his first basket.
Remember, Dower only played 3 minutes against Illinois. He was sidelined a little bit with the stomach flu.
Wildcats ball leading by 3. Nearly halfway through the first half in Seattle.
Now Bruce Weber's trying to coach that offense from the other end of the court.
That three was partially blocked, but the strong effort from DJ Johnson, and he got the stick back.
Well, Strong is right on the money because he's a physical freshman, former football player who's throwing his weight around.
Well, Fran mentioned Bruce Weber barking out instructions to his offense. It's been a great coaching career for Bruce Weber. We'll talk about that when we come back to Seattle. Well, Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla back here in Seattle. Bill Weber's Kansas State Wildcats with a 5-point lead over the Gonzaga Bulldogs. I think one of the reasons, Fran, why Bruce Weber is so respected as a head coach around the game, the guy really paid his dues before getting his chance to be a head man.
He sure has. I remember when he was on that sideline with Gene Cady at Purdue, and then, of course, the success as a Saluki at Southern Illinois. Pretty good record at Illinois. May not have ended well. And now the head coach the Kansas State Wildcats. And look at that head of hair. He started out as a young guy with dark hair, and now he is the silver-plated coach of the Wildcats. That's what coaching will do for you. By the way, that's why I have mostly black hair, because I have not coached in 10 years. Yep, I knew when.
Bruce Weber, who, when things did not go well at the end with Illinois, as you mentioned, had a chance to sit out a year, maybe do some TV work, maybe take his time, just wanted to get back in. He loves coaching. And Kansas State commits an over and back violation, sloppy turnover on the inbound play. And Bruce Weber arguing that call.
Now remember the white line. Let's see now. There's the catch. Well, it depends. See, the white line is actually part of the backboard. So if he in fact stepped on the line, then that's a good call. The white line can't be both front court and backboard. It's part of the backboard.
Stockton trying to get the ball down low. Here's Gary Bell Jr. Comes up short on the three. Harris got a hand on it. And Mike Hart in the game gets it back to Bell. This time he hits.
Well, that's important because Bell and Pangos have come up dry in the last 2 outings. And they really need Gary Bell to stay aggressive.
The Seattle kid, big-time player, just a sophomore, had a great freshman year. Here's some pick and roll again for the Wildcats.
Good job by Dower to move his feet and get back to Gibson. Now, you're right. They don't have the same sense of urgency in guarding Kansas State's guards that they had with Brandon Paul.
Southwell, contested shot off the rim, out of bounds, and off of Kansas State. Another difficult shot for the Wildcats. Southwell missed, and he'll come out of the game as Rodney Magruder comes back in.
The one thing you know about Kansas State this season, Dave, they're going to rebound the basketball, and they're going to defend. The key is how are they going to adjust to Bruce Weber's motion offense? Because there's a lot of freedom involved, but you can't just have freedom if you don't have the skill level to be able to use that freedom.
And something that you're going to talk about a little more as we go on with our telecast here tonight, that Bruce Weber motion offense. Karnowski, great look, and then he missed the shot.
Well, it shows you the versatility again of Harris, because he can really help this team in so many ways.
Catch and shoot three. Rodriguez feeling confident. Out of bounds. So that one is off of Karnowski. Wildcats keep it. Bruce Weber calls an inbounds play.
Look how Karnowski is on the basketball. They switch everything on. They caught him inside. See, if you're going to put the big guy on the inbounder, you better make sure he takes away the basket.
Harris posting up this time. Not looking to dish, looking to score. Gets himself to the free throw line. Bruce Weber, with his Kansas State defense, it has been an excellent defense so far.
Well, number one, it's early. Other than Michigan, the schedule hasn't been great. Remember, part of that is a win over Division II Alabama Huntsville. But your point's well taken. This team is built for defense. The residue of toughness left over from Frank Martin is still with these kids.
Harris hits the free throw. First free throw in this game for either side. So it's been a tough guy kind of game, but the officials have also let the players bang around a little bit. It's been a physical game without a lot of whistles, without a lot of fouls. Harris continues to climb the all-time Gonzaga charts in a lot of categories, makes both free throws.
You know what you love about Elias Harris? As a freshman, there was that talk about him being a lottery pick. Was really never really accurate. Whoever, labeled him such. He's comfortable in his own skin right now, because you could see the versatility.
Stole the ball away, missed the shot in transition. Maybe should have given it up that time. Spradling shoots the transition three. It rattled out. Hart fighting for the ball, falls down, and that's going to be a jump ball. Arrow favors Gonzaga. Jim Boeheim's climb to 900. Could well culminate Monday night on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Syracuse playing so well against Detroit. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Could be history on Monday night. ESPN2, 7 Eastern.
Mark Few's been influenced by Jim Boeheim in a number of ways. And we'll get into that, particularly when it comes to fighting cancer. Jim Boeheim started Coaches versus Cancer along with Norm Stewart. And Mark and Marcy Few have done a phenomenal job in the Spokane community.
Karnowski, tough catch in traffic, got a shot up, spun it around and in.
Well, this is a young man that's going to shoot at a very high rate, 70% coming in. And in part because of good hands and the ability to catch a tough pass in traffic.
Bounce pass down low, but then out of bounds off of Thomas Gibson. So the Wildcats turn it over. Tie game, 17-17 in Seattle.
Kevin Connors in studio. Boeheim's climb to 900 continued tonight. Number 4, Syracuse taking on Canisius. Brandon Trish from Michael Carter-Williams, one of 14 assists for the nation's top assist man. James Sutherland the finish. Mark Few knows a little something about Jim Boeheim.
What I think makes Jim a winner and one of the greatest coaches of all time is just his love for the game of basketball. I don't think people realize how much he puts into our game. He's a great teacher. Obviously, his zone defense will go down as one of the greatest entities in college basketball. Just a great guy. He's been a great mentor to me and a great friend, and couldn't be happier for him.
very nice words from the Gonzaga head coach about the headman at Syracuse, who continues to move closer and closer. Now one away from 900 all-time. And Fran, you mentioned the connection the two of them have in terms of all the money they've helped raise with Coaches versus Cancer. Obviously, also in those words, a real connection in terms of the game of basketball as well.
Well, you know, Mark is exactly right. For all the games Jim has won, he cares about the game. He's always been outspoken when it comes to issues within the game, and been a great mentor. The consistency of success at Syracuse under Jim Boeheim is what amazes me most. They win 20 games like they breathe.
Recently, Coach Boeheim very outspoken about a lot of this conference realignment news. Pangos whips a pass down low to Olynyk. Stayed with it to score.
You look at the size of Olynyk, he's 7 feet. Karnowski makes him look small, but here's the good thing for Kansas State. Little under 7 minutes to go, and the Zags only have 19 points, so still grinding it out, Kansas State.
The Gonzaga team that coming into this week led college basketball in field goal shooting percentage. A whistle and a foul against the Wildcats.
Now watch Kevin Pangos now. Scorer, watch the good look. Olynyk now. Remember, we talked about the size of Kansas State, but Kelly Olynyk staying with it. And his first couple years before he redshirted, maybe a little allergies around the paint. But now with the bulk, very comfortable banging inside.
Made him a much better player. He'll come out and set a screen for Pangos. That foul was against Diaz. Gonzaga's gotten a lot of their points in the paint. 12 of their 19, trying to get 2 more here. Karnowski lost it, though.
Tell you what, good defense, good length right now by Henriquez and Diaz.
Diaz trying to go down low to Henriquez. Henriquez split the defense. Henriquez had nowhere to go, and he traveled. Turnover, Wildcats. Coverage of Monday Night Football on ESPN, 6:30 Eastern. It all gets started with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 8:30. Mark Sanchez and the Jets still have some playoff hopes against Chris Johnson and the Tennessee Titans. Monday Night Football, Jets-Titans, 8:30 on ESPN.
Tough year for guys like me who grew up with Joe Willie Namath and Don Maynard, George Sauer, Richard Todd. What's going on in New York?
So you're not totally buying, though, to still have a shot to be in the playoffs.
I'll tell you, they're hanging by a thread right now.
Down low, and Dower. Natural lefty, beautiful move.
Well, they got 4 guys that can hurt you inside. Kansas State's done a reasonably good job, but hard to keep them all down.
Henriquez came down with the ball, now swarmed, and Dower trying to get it to his teammate, Olynyk. Diving for the loose ball, out of bounds. Good hustle, not real pretty. Wildcats will have the ball.
Watch Kelly Olynyk now. Gets on the floor, knocks it loose. Good hustle. And then he's on the sideline as he's touching that basketball. Henriquez has got to catch it inside and go right up. It's a bad habit of post players in the lane to bring that ball down or even put it on the floor.
They had a chance, maybe not for an alley-oop dunk, but just a little
bunny way up or get fouled and shoot 2.
Yeah. Wildcats making it tough on themselves on offense, and they need something from Rodney Magruder.
Well, it's hard, like I said, it's hard to get him good shots right now in this offense. You've got a screen to get him open. See, they just had a chance to find him off that screen.
4 minutes since the Wildcats scored. Magruder way too strong. Bell in transition, never slowing down. Timeout, Kansas State. 10-0 run for Gonzaga in Seattle. And the Zags have opened up a 6-point lead. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers this Wednesday. Xavier Cincinnati, 7 Eastern. Has always been a great rivalry. The 11th ranked Bearcats playing real well. Then North Carolina, Texas, 9 Eastern. Wednesday on ESPN2. That's Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. It's a great time of year for college basketball.
Oh, yeah. Get some shopping done. Xavier, of course, the cross-down shootout. We know what happened a year ago. There's Rodney Magruder. Now, it's not all his fault because if he's going to run around in the motion offense, you've got to screen for him, and then you've got to look for him coming off screens. Here's a play out of the timeout. Let's see if they can get somebody the ball.
Rodriguez had his pass deflected by Pangos, kept possession of it. They're trying to get Magruder free. Rodriguez crossover move into the jump shot, beautifully done.
And you love what Rodriguez is doing, but that's just a one-on-one play. Doesn't really come out of the offense. Pangos guarding him. Watch the space he gives him. His hands are down. See, he's just measuring Pangos as to when to go up, because he knows that as long as Pangos' hands are not going to challenge, he can shoot that ball.
Well, the officials are going to go to the monitor to check and see whether that's a 2 or a 3. They'll take a look. We will too.
Oh yeah, that's on the line.
So that won't take them long.
So watch Rodney Magruder now. We're going to show you where is he. He's right there now. See, he's got to play one-on-one, which he can do, but it's a lot easier if his teammates will help him get open.
And this is a guy, he's on the bench now. Preseason Wooden Award candidate, unanimous preseason All Big 12 player. He's got to have a big year. Olenek with the finish.
Oh yeah, that's the Gretzky. That's when you dribble past the net, like in hockey, and make a play. Williams is down.
Yeah, that sort of freed Olenek. Nino Williams, his right shoulder is hurting, and he is in a lot of pain.
Let's see Nino Williams. He's right here, and he just collided with Gary Bell, it looked like. That's how Olenek got open.
Yeah, he was stung. Whether the shoulder popped out a bit or not, he is still in a lot of pain. The facial expression tells it all. You hate to see that very tough kid, sophomore from St. Louis, Nino Williams. Yeah, it's hard to tell why he reacted so violently, but obviously something happened there, and he's going to go back to the locker room.
Well, he's been a guy, he's former Mr. Basketball in Kansas from Leavenworth High School, same school that produced Wayne Simeon, the Jayhawk star. They're going to collide right here. Take a look right there. And it looks like they bang knees, but he is a high energy guy. Gave him a huge lift last week with his shoulder in that win over George Washington.
Not a bad road win for Kansas State, going to Washington, D.C. and beat the Colonials. But the Wildcats may well be without one of their leaders, Nino Williams, for the rest of the way in Seattle. A long way from Manhattan, Kansas, and the Pacific Northwest. And that pressure,
oh boy,
near turnover. Wildcats have been sloppy with the ball. Rodriguez. The down low, Gibson was fouled from behind. Holiday time in Seattle. Gonzaga with a 6-point lead. Lots of Zags fans have come here to the big city to watch college hoops this weekend.
Kevin Connors in studio. Coming up on the Kay Jewelers halftime report. We'll show you how Butler took down the nation's #1 Indiana. How are the Bulldogs not ranked? They will be now. Plus, we'll get you ready for Florida, Arizona. Bruce Pearl is going to show you what the Gators want to do offensively. That's when you join us for the Kay Jewelers halftime report. Back to Dave and Fran, guys.
All right, Kevin, thanks. A great wheel along Elliott Bay, the beautiful Seattle waterfront just down the hill from the Pike Place Market. What a city in the Pacific Northwest. Kansas State and Gonzaga. Wildcats ball. Kansas State had the early lead, was sort of controlling this game. The Zags offense has picked up. Kansas State's offense has struggled.
2 points last 5 minutes, and again, it's part of the adjustment really to getting used to what we call motion offense, where you give the players a lot of freedom to make plays. I'm not sure they have quite the skill level yet to make those plays.
In the lane, and a bad pass from Shane Southwell. Turnover, K-State.
And that's a play where you see the the numbers right there. Southwell caught the ball in the high paint, and he had actually a shot to go up and rise. And you know what? You'd rather him shoot it. As good an offensive rebounding team as they are, maybe they get the second shot.
You know, turnovers are particularly damaging for Kansas State, because if you just get shots up, you figure they're going to get some looks. Even more than for most teams, turnovers really hurt the Wildcats. Tough defense down low. Dower and the Zags offense, you saw those numbers Fran alluded to. The Zags offense has been much better in the second part of this half. A lot of contact, no whistle.
And Thomas Gibson pushed his own man out of the way, but you know, Gonzaga's only got 25 points. There's a good look.
And the freshman DJ Johnson got knocked to the ground. Interesting player, young DJ Johnson.
Well, he's the first player that Bruce Weber signed to Kansas State. What you like about him is he was a two-sport star in high school. We see that body. He was a defensive end. What I like about it is he hasn't really concentrated fully on basketball yet, and he's already productive. Gonzaga does something interesting. They take their biggest guy and they put him on the ball, and you have to throw it out to midcourt more often than not.
Just trying to keep the ball away from the basket on those inbounds plays.
Well, think about it. Who takes it out usually? Your point guard.
Final 2+ minutes of this half. Big man against the littler Rodriguez. Rodriguez splits through the defense, got shoved. Foul against Gonzaga. It's the second against Elias Harris.
Now watch Dower now.
Now Harris is looking to the bench. We'll see if Mark Few leaves him in or not. If not is the answer. Harris with the 2 fouls may well sit the final 2:14 of this half.
You have the luxury with that depth on the front line. Now watch, look at Karnowski now, 7'1" against Rodriguez. He can't get it in easily. And it really blows up your inbound plays unless he makes that.
And he takes the handoff back. Would have looked pretty good. Eddie made that one. Eddie on the move. Eddie, left hand miss. Dower rebound. Here comes Kansas State.
I think Dower got fouled, but both teams playing physically around the basket.
Zags fans here in big numbers in Seattle wanted a foul. Spradling shot way short. There's a K-State offensive rebound.
That's why you're better off putting it up on the board and going to get it.
Rodriguez with the foul, hits the 3. He'll add a free throw on top of it.
Now, this is a young guy that last year as a freshman, he was the MVP of both teams a lot of nights, but he grew up at the end of the year. His assist turnover ratio has gotten better and better. And even though he's only shooting 33% from behind the arc coming into tonight, he plays with moxie. He's actually a good open shooter if he puts those contested ones in his back pocket.
He already made 3 threes in this one. He's been huge for the Kansas State offense, and that was a big play. Final 2 minutes of the half. Little 6-0 Wildcats run has gotten them back within 2.
When you think about it, Gonzaga averages 82 points a game, and just what we talked about, Kansas State has mucked up this game because of their defense and their rebounding on both ends.
This is how they have to play. Pangos has been ultra quiet offensively. Guinness back in, finds Gary Bell. The shot clock, you see it's not working, so they're keeping time with the shot clock themselves. That's why that number on the bottom of your screen not moving.
Well, that play right there was a bad angle to post feed. If you're going to throw it in from the side, it's got to be below the foul line extended. That would have taken the big fella to the basket. Instead, it took him away from the basket, the ball out of bounds.
Now, they do notice that the shot, so they did not know that the shot clock wasn't working. They went that whole possession. The official made a little signal to the table, and I thought that had meant that they were aware of the issue. In fact, no.
Well, and where it factored in right there is the official was, he noticed that the count, the 10 count, he was trying to correspond his count to the 10 count on the game clock.
The you can see the shot clock was not working that whole possession, and we thought the officials were aware of that. They were not.
What they got to do right now is there's going to be a turnover coming up, and then they'll factor in.
Yeah.
And by the way, we'll get a chance to see this bad angled pass that takes the big guy away from the basket. So 117.
Well, with 109 on the game clock never stopped working, so they'll now subtract time from the shot clock and try to get that shot clock working once again.
And by the way, if you're watching at home and you go, wait a minute, they only got 2 seconds left on the 10-second clock, the 10-second count will start all over anytime there's a stoppage in play or a dead ball.
Yeah, this is not particularly important because the game clock continues to wind. It's the shot clock that's not working, and the game clock, I believe, uninterrupted, continued to move. So they're checking that to see if any game time needs to be added, and it doesn't. The game clock worked the whole time. The only issue is that shot clock needs to be at, what, 27 now as opposed to 35 with Kansas State having the ball.
That's exactly right. And oftentimes in this situation, when the shot clock doesn't work, the announcer will make they'll say, 10 seconds, so the players know. The way this game has been played, even though it's been a low-tempo game in terms of the score, we really haven't gotten near the end of any shot clock situation.
So the officials may not be satisfied that the game clock is correct either. That's the only thing I can think of that would be taking this long in terms of a delay. They continue to try to sort things out. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Jim Boeheim, we've been talking about his climb to 900 Monday, 7 Eastern. Could be the night that he hits that milestone. Detroit and Syracuse up at the Carrier Dome. Fourth-ranked Orange playing very, very well on ESPN2 Monday, 7 Eastern. Chance for history. So, shot clock at 28 as opposed to 27, which was my recommendation. They were off by a second as far as I'm concerned, but here we go, and the game clock was fine.
See if they can work something for Rodney Magruder now. He'll probably come off this double. See if they can get it. There it is.
Magruder couldn't catch it cleanly. That's another Kansas State turnover.
Excellent help by Sam Dower. He smelled that play out.
Karnowski from Pangos.
Mark Few told us he should have played the big fella more last week against Illinois. Only played 11 minutes, but when they watched the film, he was very, very productive. He moves his feet great for his size.
Spradling left open. The three goes down.
Well, anytime you can get Spradling and Rodriguez open and give them open looks without a hand in their face, this really helps Kansas State's offense.
Gonzaga wants to hold for the final look of the half, leading by 1 with the ball. Pangos is calling for a screen. He'll get one. Pangos goes right by the defender. Missed the shot. Rebound tipped up. Wildcats grab it. The horn sounds and the first half comes to an end.
We got a ball game, and it's a perfect tempo for Kansas State.
Gonzaga playing big in the paint, but the Wildcats made some outside shots as the half wound down. So Gonzaga with a 1-point lead. Now let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio and the Kay Jewelers halftime report.
All right, Kay, thanks very much. So a good one in Seattle tonight. They played a good one inside the Carrier Dome tonight as well. Number 4 team in America, Syracuse, playing host to Canisius. Boeheim's climb to 900 on. He had 898 wins coming into this one tonight. Brandon Trish in transition. Bruce Pearl, James Sutherland can fill it up.
He can run the floor, and when you turn the ball over against that 2-3 zone, you're going to pay it at the other end.
He had 9 3-pointers against Arkansas earlier this season in transition. Throws it down 21 in this game. Syracuse wins 85-61. Career win 899. And so on Monday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. The climb to 900 continues. Bruce, a chance for Jim Boeheim to enter a select club.
He joins legends Pat Summitt, Mike Krzyzewski, Bob Knight, and Jody Conrad, others that have won 900 plus.
If it's not Monday, it'll be at some point this season. Jim Boeheim's chance to do it for the first time is on Monday. And welcome into the Kay Jewelers halftime report. Kevin Connors, Bruce Pearl on what is turning into a very entertaining Saturday in college basketball. We've already seen the number 1 team in America go down in Indianapolis today against the Butler Bulldogs. Pick it up with 15 seconds to go in regulation. Indiana down by 3. And Bruce, it's the unlikely hero, Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi comes into the game 1 for 10 from 3. He knocks that one down to tie it.
Tied it at 76. Chase DeGaulle had a chance to win it at the buzzer. No dice, and so they go to overtime. In OT, Butler downfall. For Bruce, you felt this was a critical point in this game.
Well, Chase DeGaulle doesn't get a very good look, but he chases his own rebound down, wins the 50-50 ball. Where's Rodney Clark? There he is. Bang!
You got to see him do a lot of that in his time at Arkansas.
Oh, boy, I sure did.
Drills the 3 there, and then how about DeGaulle? No one covered him. He drains the 3. Butler led by 2. Late Indiana went to Cody Zeller, and it paid off.
Well, Cody Zeller only gets 9 shots in this game. He only has 4 baskets, Kevin. They got to get him more looks.
That tied it at 86. Under 5 seconds to go. It's the former walk-on, Alex Barlow. The floater goes down, and then one last gasp for the Hoosiers. 2.5 seconds to go. Jordan Hose, no. Butler upsets the #1 team in America, 88-86. Brad Stevens adds another feather to his cap. Michigan and West Virginia going at it right now in Brooklyn tonight. And I ask you, Bruce Pearl, is there a better backcourt in America than the one Michigan has?
There is not a better backcourt, and there's not a better transition point guard than that guy right there, Trey Burke.
Trey Burke with the steal and the lay-in and then the transition jumper. And then you know what? When he's not doing it to you, Tim Hardaway Jr. is. He's got over 20 points in this one. Burke has 25, and it's Michigan, the 69-61 lead on West Virginia late. We'll take a timeout when we come back on the Kay Jewelers halftime report. We'll get you set for Florida and Arizona. Bruce's keys for the Gators coming up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and AT&T. Rethink possible. This halftime report is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Kevin Connors, Bruce Pearl back with you. Major blow to the Big East Conference today. The 7 non-FBS football playing schools, DePaul, Georgetown, Marquette, Providence, St. John, Seton Hall, and Villanova, announced today they're going to pursue a new basketball framework. Bruce, they really had no choice.
Kevin, the Big East was created to be a basketball superpower. The only way that it was going to remain a basketball superpower if those 7 schools got together and started their own league.
And so we'll see now what is the future for the remaining teams. Memphis and Louisville going at it. Josh Kastner looking for the upset. And boy, things look good in the early going. How about Joe Jackson and DJ Stevens?
Memphis plays above the rim. The FedEx Forum is a very, very difficult place to play on the road.
Did you say they play above the rim? It's almost above the backboard right there. But Louisville lived on the free throw line in this one, Bruce.
Well, Memphis fouled them 33 times. Memphis turned the ball over 24 times, and that's not a formula for success.
87-78, the Cardinals do it again. Purdue and Notre Dame. This was the other game on that field in Indianapolis earlier today, and the Irish dominated down low. Jack Cooley, a big reason why.
Cooley and Sherman combined 11 for 16, 29 points, 12 rebounds. Too much inside for the Irish.
Notre Dame goes on to win it by a final of 81-68. They're now 9-1 on the season. Elsewhere, Cincinnati continues its terrific start. 10-0 now. They get 13 from Kilpatrick, 14 from Kashmir Wright, and Georgetown, an 81-68 win over Western Carolina. Meantime, Florida, Arizona, coming your way 10 Eastern on ESPN. Kenny Boynton, the top scorer for Billy Donovan's Florida Gators. Bruce, what exactly does Florida want to do tonight offensively against Arizona?
They want to go to the basket with their ball screen offense. And this is what the key is here. Billy Donovan's one of the best ball screen offensive coaches in the country. When they put the ball in the wing, you do not want to let Florida get to the middle because they have too many options. They got the option for a get on the duck in, or the better option here, Patrick Young on the lob.
Florida, one of those teams that can hurt you in a lot of different ways. We mentioned Boynton, the scoring threat and a passing threat, but again, here's more of that pick and roll.
This time it's Rosario, same play to Patrick Young, very difficult. Now, those are both roles, but Florida's really, really good in transition, especially with Eric Murphy. He shoots 43% from 3. Kenny Boynton on the transition drag screen. He gets it back to Murphy. Wisconsin's got to close faster. They don't. Bang. Three-pointer for Florida.
Something about those Rockville center guys. Billy Donovan has that offense going well for Florida. And again, that's a real good one tonight. Two top 10 teams set to have that at 10 Eastern over on ESPN. We've got a good one going on in Seattle right now. Gonzaga and Kansas State, maybe a bit tighter than some expected. It's the Dogs, a 1-point halftime lead.
This halftime report is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Welcome back to the Kay Jewelers halftime report.
Kevin Connors, Bruce Pearl here in studio. It is now official. Kirk Cousins will get the start Sunday for the Washington Redskins when they take on the Cleveland Browns. Robert Griffin III tweeting earlier tonight, the decision was not mine, but I will be there for my team. A sprained LCL will keep him from starting tomorrow's game. Meantime, good one over on ESPN right now. Michigan, an 11-point lead on West Virginia. Trey Burke leading the way. Wolverines looking to remain undefeated. Hot start for Angel Rodriguez. He's got 12 points to lead all scorers, keeping Kansas State in this one, down by just one. Second half action on the way.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Capital One Cash Rewards Card with a 50% annual bonus. You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Welcome back here to Seattle. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Start of the second half. Gonzaga with a 1-point lead over Kansas State. Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla with you here inside the Key Arena. And Fran, Kansas State, I think, has a lot to be pleased about from the first half. They're in this game, and yet they got nothing in terms of scoring from their star, Rodney McGruder.
Who has been playing well, and there's a reason for it. If you're going to run motion offense, you've got to do everything you can to get your leading scorer open. Now watch Rodney McGruder on this possession. Chooses to come out a different route. Now if you're Nino Williams, your only thought process right here is get our leading scorer open. Instead, Dave, he passes McGruder like two ships in the night, and that forces a jump shot by Rodriguez, who winds up knocking it down. And Rodney McGruder says, well, if I'm going to score, I'm going to have to go crash the offensive glass. You got to get him open. Now, for Gonzaga, 20 points of their 27 in the paint. Look at Pangos' head up and watch the big fella Karnowski. He's going to do his work early by sealing Gibson to the inside. Pangos sees it, realizes that ball needs to be delivered to the outside hand. Big fella's got good hands, finishes inside.
So a couple of inside the plays from the first half. Those are the numbers for the Wooden Award candidate, Rodney McGruder. 14 minutes, has not scored, 0 for 3 from the field. As Fran so well described there, though, a lot of that is not just on McGruder. His teammates have to do a better job of getting him looks in the half-court offense.
Well, it's a matter of just learning this motion offense. And you see they start right off going towards him.
And he stepped out of bounds. Mike Hart harassing him defensively made it very tough to get him the ball.
And let's point out, Mike Hart is starting the second half, and the reason he is because he's an outstanding defensive player.
That tells you, I think, something about how Mark Few felt about the way the first half went. A quick whistle and a foul against Rodriguez at Kansas State. Hart there, guy who's not expected to be a scorer, but a key role player for Gonzaga with his defense, with his rebounding, with his hustle.
Former walk-on, guy averaged 8 points a game at Portland Jesuit High School, Oregon powerhouse.
Olynyk with the left hand.
They love to do this, especially out of timeouts. If they have an ISO advantage with Harris or Olynyk, they'll just clear some space for the drive.
Tough screen. Pangos got knocked around by Johnson, but it did not free up a Kansas State player. Rodriguez, Magruder, just trying to play one-on-one, falls to the ground. Ball loose. Harris keeps it in bounds. Pangos, tough lead pass. Olynyk couldn't catch it, but Spradling, the guy who knocked it out of bounds. And the Zags are going to keep the ball.
Well, watch the ISO now. They clear out that driving lane. Olynyk takes the freshman, DJ Johnson, who is starting the second half because of the shoulder injury to Nino Williams, and he's not expected to return.
Yeah, that's what we speculated with Williams, that it was a shoulder problem, and he will not be back in this game. That's a tough loss for Kansas State, one of their tough guys, one of their leaders. Nino Williams out. We don't know the extent of the shoulder problem. On the inbound, Pangos. The defense just left him.
Little peekaboo there, expecting the little handoff.
And Bruce Weber not pleased with the first minute of this second half. He takes the timeout. We'll take a timeout ourselves. Gonzaga leads 31-26. Five-point lead for Gonzaga just into the second half. Different kind of year for the Zags. They did not win the regular season in the WCC, did not win the postseason tournament in the West Coast Conference. Mark Few, maybe not all that upset about that fact.
That makes me feel good. I mean, it'd be nice to finally, we got to play with a chip on our shoulder. You know, it's been a while since maybe we've been able to talk about doing that, and hopefully we'll be able to do that most of this year. You know, it's the first time since I've been the head coach that we're not, defending a WCC title of some sort. So we've been talking to the guys a lot about that.
First time in better than a decade that the Zags are the hunter as opposed to the hunted. St. Mary's won both the regular season WCC title and the conference tournament title last year.
We were talking today about, some people saying this might be the best Zags team ever. And Mark said, hey, we've had some teams with some NBA guys on it. Pretty good teams through the years.
Out of that timeout. Bad turnover for the Wildcats.
Now this is a team, you look at their backcourt, it's been solid for most of the year, depth, experience, but you think back to 2006 with Morrison and Derek Rivio, and Batista was on that team. 2019 was really good with Pargo and Gay. Vic Allen, Blake Stepp weren't bad either.
Yeah, a number 2 seeded in the NCAA tournament. Blake Stepp led Gonzaga team. Pangos, who has just one basket in this game, and he's been slumping offensively of late for the Zags. A very talented sophomore.
5 of 23 coming in tonight. A lot of those are contested shots right now.
Magruder still looking for his first points. Still looking. Bell on the move. Pangos open 3. In and out, and Hart hustling for the loose ball.
The guy long ago earned his scholarship. Former walk-on who tried out for the team. We mentioned he played at Portland Jesuit. He started the second half tonight. He's averaging 2 points a game, but his value to this team is incredible. 4 rebounds. Mark Few says he's got the highest defensive IQ of anybody on the Zags team.
He's forced a bunch of turnovers with his defense in this game. Just an energy, hustle, tough guy player.
He started out as a walk-on and redshirt.
What a pass from Pangos.
That's 14 for Olynyk, but the problem for Kansas State right now is something we've talked about often tonight. They don't generate offense easily in the half court.
So as the Zags have upped their scoring, Kansas State is having a hard time keeping up. Enriquez down low. Southwell passed up the 3. Enriquez fouled from behind. Well, Fran's been talking about Mike Hart's hustle, his energy, and his defense.
First couple possessions in the second half, you see he forces the turnover. Magruder steps on the sideline, and then the harassment right here. And that's why he's in the game. And you know what's interesting about Mike Hart? He's actually a pretty good shooter this year. 5 of 7 behind the arc, but that's not why he's in the game right now.
Jordan Enriquez is not a good free throw shooter. This is the first of 2.
And that might be the understatement of the year.
Yeah, I was trying to take it easy on the kid. He's now 2 for 15 at the free throw line.
You know what you liked about that play? When he got fouled, he didn't put it on the floor. He went straight up.
Problem for Enriquez as he misses both. He's 2 for 16 at the line. He's just going to keep getting fouled. Anytime he gets a touchdown low, it's going to take away opportunities to score. Olynyk feeling it on offense. That little turnaround move.
We talked about how Kelly Olynyk used to be allergic to the paint, loved the three-point shot, transformed his body, and subsequently transforming his game.
Commits a foul. Olynyk trying to deny that pass. A little foul trouble for a guy who's been very productive in this game.
Watch this move, Dave. He looks middle now. This is skill right here. Looks middle, right? Bangs, bangs, and then turns away from the pressure. Takes the shot blocking out of it with a deft move.
Olynyk on defense here. And a steal by Hart. Here goes Mike Hart, who gets hammered, and that's going to be a flagrant foul. As Hart was trying to score in transition, he got hammered.
Southwell was contrite as soon as he committed the foul. You just got to know this now. Take a look. Easy call. Didn't play the ball. Southwell right away knew that he did something he shouldn't have done, and he's going right over and saying, hey, my bad.
That's a flagrant 1 foul.
Yeah, now, wait a minute. Hart's supposed to...
Yeah.
Hart's supposed to shoot him.
Bruce Weber just went nuts on the sideline.
See, this is good this is good coaching by Hart. Shoots the 2, and then they get the ball. I don't know why Pangos is sneaking up there, except that he's a pretty good foul shooter.
Yeah, it's not like a technical foul in the old days where you pick your shooter. He got fouled. It was a flagrant 1.
Yeah, that's all.
Hart's got to be the shooter.
Now Pangos is going, what? See, that the rule is the player that gets fouled on the flagrant 1 shoots 2, they'll get it underneath. And Bruce Weber came sprinting towards midcourt. That's good officiating. They had it wrong and corrected it.
Hart at the line. Gonzaga opening up a lead here in the second half. And there is a difference between Hart and Pangos at the line.
And you know, the other thing is it's always hard in front of 15,000 to shoot free throws with nobody on the line. Now, this is not exactly a pressure situation. They're up 9.
Makes 1 of 2. Gonzaga gets to keep the ball with that flagrant 1. Gonzaga has not shot free throws well. This is a team that leads the country in field goal percentage, almost at the bottom in free throw percentage. How do you explain that?
You can't. Sometimes you get on a roll, and it's a good roll or a bad roll. Right now, free throw wise, they're on a bad roll.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Spradling. Zags will keep it along the sideline.
Dave, one thing Gonzaga is doing on the defensive end, even though Kansas State doesn't have scoring inside, they're double teaming their post because they're not great passers out of the double team.
Southwell cut into the passing lane, stole it away from Pangos, and came up short in transition. Bell on the move. Bell, nifty move. Dower had it ripped away. Fran's been talking about it. Kansas State has to find some easy looks, some way to get a basket in transition. The half court has been very difficult for them. They don't have a very offensive-oriented team on the floor right now.
Good ball moving right there.
Got the open look and hit the 3, Martavius Irving.
And Spradling started. He did a great job of making that pass from out of bounds. He jumped into the air. He knew where the drift guy was, and a great extra pass.
And believe it or not, those are the first points of the second half for Kansas State. Their first 3. They've been almost 5 minutes. Gonzaga's taken control of this game. Another bad pass by Pangos and another Gonzaga turnover.
Tell you what, K-State's half-court defense has been pretty good.
Spradling, offensive rebound. Diaz will go to the free throw line. So that's sort of the formula for K-State. Play defense, get a shot, get an offensive rebound. We'll see if the Wildcats can find a way back into this game as Gonzaga here in Seattle has the 7-point lead.
Kevin Connor's in studio. A couple top 10 teams going at it right now over on ESPN. Florida, Arizona. Kenny Boynton, top scorer for the Gators, the floater. Florida trying to join Duke and Butler as the only 3 teams to beat at least 2 ranked teams this season, Dave.
All right, good stuff, Kevin. We're back here in Seattle. Big picture stuff, Fran, in college hoops. And I think, obviously, the big story of the day, what Butler did to the #1 Hoosier.
Unbelievable. Brad Stevens, been around the guy, tremendous coach. You know, if Tom Crean ever leaves to go to the NBA, which I know he aspires to do someday, their next coach is right there 60 miles up the road. I can't say enough about the quality of human being Brad Stevens is, let alone how good a coach he is. And that was a fun game to watch today. Indiana will bounce back. They'll use this game to motivate themselves later in the year. But Brad Stevens can take his and beat yours, and he can take yours and beat his.
After the holiday season, Diaz out of the timeout, hits a free throw. After the holidays in the new year, Gonzaga will travel to Butler and play a game there.
It's game day.
Yeah, basically kicks off the game day season in the new year. And that will be a great matchup between Gonzaga and Butler. Last year, the Zags really took it to Butler up in Spokane.
You remember last year, Butler could not shoot the ball from behind the arc, and that sure changed with Rodney Clark and the freshman Durham, outstanding shooter, Kellen Durham.
Eric Fromm shot the ball well today. He's been shooting well for Butler.
Chase DeGale hit that huge 3, those back-to-backers.
David Stockton in the game, finds Dower for the lay-in. What a look. Channeling his dad there with the pass underneath the basket, the son of the all-time great.
That's one of the few times tonight that Kansas State has broken down in terms of their pick-and-roll defense. But Stockton plays with his head up, and he'll take chances as well.
Came into the game after Pangos had committed a couple of turnovers. Spradling used the screen. Gibson with the dribble, got knocked to the ground. That's a foul.
Well, watch David Stockton. Watch him come off the screen. Head up, head up, head up. Waits. Make sure that Dower clears by Spradling. Look, waits. Now he finds him underneath. Makes the game easy for his big guys.
Free throws here for Thomas Gibson, the sophomore from Texas. Has passed the ball well in this game, Fran. Not just David Stockton, as Gibson misses.
Well, obviously, Pangos and Stockton are really good pick-and-roll type players because they cause indecision on the part of the defense. This young man, Gibson, is transforming his body. A sophomore at a Cedar Hill High School in Dallas.
Missed both free throws. Kansas State leaving some points out there from the free throw line. Stockton into the front court. Karnowski showing a little skill with the dribble move.
Good patience right now by Gonzaga.
Gibson trying to hold ground as Karnowski uses that left hand but missed the shot. Spradling down low, pass was intercepted by Dower.
I said this earlier, it's a bad angle pass when you throw it from above the foul line extended. Take a look at this now. You need to take the ball below the foul line extended. That pass is going to allow the defender to circle because Diaz can't seal him off. 2 more dribbles down to the baseline and you're going to have a good angle.
Well, our replay did not finish all the way. Bruce Weber had a good argument. They gave the ball to Gonzaga. And it appeared to go off Sam Dower. Bell will go to the free throw line. A lot of contact in the lane. Free throws coming up for the Zags here. ESPN College Basketball. Available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at WatchESPN.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
You're seeing something you rarely see during the season, and that is Gary Bell, Dave, shooting free throws. That's only he's only shot 11 free throws coming into the game tonight. He's played 9 games, and he's too good a player. He's got to get the ball into the lane and not just settle on jump shots.
And Gary Bell is too talented of a player in terms of his athleticism, ability to get in the lane, to be shooting that number of free throws. He needs to get to the line more.
I think it helps his game when his jumper's not going.
Magruder back in, throws it away. What a tough night for Rodney Magruder. Stockton found Bell. Air ball. Rodriguez bounces it, and an offensive foul. Bell, after missing the shot, hustled back and took the charge.
Well, let's take a look at this. He definitely, it's a restricted arc play, I think. Let's see. And we won't be able to really see the feet there. See, I don't think you reward the defender right there when both guys are moving. You know, obviously Diaz is a big guy. Now we'll get a better look right here. Let's see if he's established. It's really close. It's bang bang. You know, I think that's one of those bang bang plays that you can't reward the defense for.
Bruce Weber got Warren there and maybe nearly got a technical foul.
Now what they'll do this year, the officials, is they'll let you argue a call, but they don't want to hear you keep arguing the second or third time up the floor.
There is some emphasis this season on decorum from the bench. Here's a shot from Dower. Rebound. Magruder tapped it to himself. Wildcats have got to find a way to get Rodney Magruder going somehow on offense.
Well, they're 2 baskets away from being right back in this game.
Diaz, tough move. Offensive rebound. Reset for K-State. Gibson very active. Gibson traveled.
I said this earlier, Dave. It's incumbent. Now, you got non-scorers out there in Diaz, Gibson, and Southwell. So when Rodriguez has the ball, the other 3 players ought to be searching for Rodney Magruder and screening for him.
Nine-point lead for the Zags. Stockton looks very much in control. Eddie, 3. Biggest lead for the Zags, up by 12. Kansas State offense has disappeared in this half. Southwell from the baseline.
Good smooth move by the junior. Well, he went to Rice High School, the great school that produced Felipe Lopez, Kemba Walker. Rice High School no longer. Throws down.
Stockton and Pangos in the game together. 2-point guard kind of look. There's a whistle and a foul. He's going to go against Kansas State playing defense down low. Zags have been playing well. Shots have been going in. When we come back, you won't want to miss this. We'll show you some shots of a different variety. The Bulldogs have been practicing. Don't miss it. 10-point lead for Gonzaga in Seattle. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla with you. Those Zags, very skilled offensive team. They sort of showed that off in a fun way. Recently made a trick shot video, Fran.
Very, very creative right here. I know something about trick shots, and we'll get into that later. But take a look all over the McCartney Center. This was Kevin Pangos, Kyle Dranginis, Drew Barham.
I know some of those are pretty cool. The slingshot from half court, that's not easy.
Yep.
Off the wall in the practice facility. I like that one.
Yep. Walk-on Rem Backamus was involved with this. These 4 guys did a really nice job. Added a little dancing in, but they're in another video. They make a cameo in another trick shot video that's going viral right now.
Yeah, somebody that the two of us know. Now you know him a little better. Your son, who plays for the Oklahoma Sooners, who put together a tremendous trick shot video. Not just the degree of difficulty, but very well produced.
He did the editing too. I'm proud of him. And Kevin Pangos and company. It's James Fraschilla, Trick Shots Volume 2. You'll be impressed. Go on and watch it. And It's for a great cause. Hayden's Hope, the foundation that Dari Noka, our colleague at ESPN, has founded in honor of a son who passed away a couple years ago. Hayden's Hope.
Harris to Olynyk. The Zags offense just beautiful there. 18 for Kelly Olynyk.
You know, we haven't mentioned Elias Harris a lot tonight, but he's been so steady. I think he's been the most valuable Zag this season because he's the most versatile player they have. You saw it right there.
Still plenty of time. Magruder off a screen, no good.
That's the first time I can remember him getting a shot tonight off of a screen in that motion offense, so that's a good sign.
Still has not scored. 12-2 run. Gonzaga also went on a 10-0 run. Harris lob. Olynyk had to catch and gather and then didn't score. Olynyk went down hard as well. The headband's coming off. Olynyk taking inventory as he walks back on defense. Loose ball. Good hustle from the Zags and David Stockton. He's just flying around everywhere. Stockton's given Gonzaga a nice spark in this game.
And watch this. We talked about Elias Harris and how versatile he is. The catch, the little quick double, and then he's got mental telepathy right here with Olynyk, who releases to the rim. And you know what? It helps when you're 7 feet because he's a bigger target for Harris. But, you know, we mentioned Mike Hart before. Remember, David Stockton, the Jesuit, the Gonzaga prep youngster, was a walk-on as well, and has more than earned his scholarship as a junior.
Yeah, two players who have worked themselves into important roles on this team. Harris got fouled as he went baseline with the dribble. David Stockton grew up around the Gonzaga program. His dad very famously with the Hall of Fame NBA career, one of the great point guards of all time, but also played his college ball at Gonzaga and truly the all-time Gonzaga great.
I saw John Stockton play in 1984 at the Olympic trials in Bloomington, Indiana. He was one of the last guys cut. When he was drafted by the Utah Jazz by Frank Layden, they booed him. They booed the pick, if you can imagine that. Of course, 6'1" guard out of Gonzaga, who knew, right?
Who knew? Harris makes both free throws. So Gonzaga playing very well in the second half. This is a 1-point game, and it was 27-26 Gonzaga, so you could do the math. The Zags have picked up the pace offensively. Kansas State just having a hard time scoring.
If you look at their team, Rodney Magruder averages 12.9. That's what we talked about coming in. They're going to need to consistently get 3 guys in double figures during the season in the Big 12 play in order to be successful.
Shot clock winding down under 10. Rodriguez step back. Stockton played good defense there, and he got the rebound as well. 3-on-2. Eddie Olynyk in the fast break situation, had it rejected. Good transition D from the Wildcats. Magruder, blocking foul. Rodney Magruder will go to the free throw line.
Take a look at this now. Watch David Stockton now. Watch the defense he's going to play as that ball comes back to the other side. The clock's going down, so he's got to take a shot. Now watch this contest right here. Take a look now. Go ahead and run it, guys. He goes in the air without fouling and challenges that shot. Textbook.
Rodney Magruder, leading scorer, Wooden Award candidate, is on the scoreboard. That is his first point of this game.
And this is a guy, last 3 games, you see the numbers. Went home to George Washington University last week. Grew up in Washington, D.C., had 80 friends and family there. He started his high school career at Archbishop Carroll in D.C., the school that produced the likes of John Thompson, you know, the junior, the great coach at Georgetown. Not JT3, but his dad.
Bang goes to Olynyk for the finish. And I think Olynyk just got called for a technical foul.
Well, pick and roll. Again, make it side so there was no rotation to Take a look now. Quick pick and roll. The slip. The rotation is late. The dunk. Then a little bit of a taunt. Good call by the official. Now, you love the guy's energy. Don't take that away. Kelly Olynyk loves to play the game. He loves to enjoy himself out there. A little bit of a taunt. They tee him. So to essentially negate the basket.
His coach was not pleased with the junior big man who'll be coming out of the game. The technical foul also is his 4th personal foul, and he's going to get the cold shoulder from Mark Few.
Not until they go back and watch it on tape. But you know the tough part about that is it's an absolutely great call because he was taunting. But you also want to make sure you don't take away the guy's enthusiasm for the game. Officials were right on top of it.
And I think the way he targeted the Kansas State player and barked at him was the key there.
Correct.
You can be enthusiastic, be pumped up without doing that.
Absolutely right.
So the Wildcats get the free throw still in this game. This game is not over. Still 8.5 to go. Spradling finds Rodriguez. The ball tipped by Eddie. Guy Landry, great athlete in transition, had, no, not poked away. He was fouled. And that'll be a shooting foul. Kelly Olynyk on the bench after the technical foul. And the brush by and then the stare back.
That's about as animated as you'll see. Now, I'll tell you what, I've known Mark Few a long time. You know, he is an intense guy. He's not going to throw basketballs at anybody. Don't get me wrong. But he's an intense guy. And that was a little message.
No, that spoke much louder than any words he could have said.
But you know what he told me in August? I asked him about Kelly Olynyk. He goes, you know what? I can't wait to coach him. He's gotten so much better. The redshirt year has really helped him. If you think about Gonzaga, the reason they have such a great program is they have the ability to take guys who aren't leaving early, okay, and redshirt them. They got so many guys out here, Stockton and Hart, Kelly Olynyk, that have redshirted and turned themselves to really good players. I think Dower might have been a redshirt too.
He was.
Yeah.
When he started his career. That's a good point. Olynyk should get some credit, too, for being willing to do it. Magruder found some separation. Harris high for the rebound. Bad outlet pass stolen. Rodriguez finds Spradling. 3, no good. Wildcats need to make some of those.
That's exactly right. And the difference between last week and this week, Brandon Paul was making those.
Out of bounds. Gonzaga will have it when we come back. Intensity here in Seattle. The head coach of the Bulldogs not real pleased with his star big man Kelly Olynyk, who has played well. Gonzaga has opened up a bigger lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And the Lincoln Motor Company.
In Seattle, where the Kansas State Wildcats are watching the Gonzaga Bulldogs pull away in this second half. And not getting much for their leading scorer and star, Rodney Magruder. Credit the Gonzaga defense.
Well, they have been all over him tonight. They've swarmed him, made it very difficult for him to get any space at all. They've challenged him at the rim. They've double-teamed him when they needed to. It's been a tough night for Rodney Magruder, but I'll go back to what I said earlier. If you're a Kansas State player, you're wearing a black jersey, you need to know where Rodney Magruder is, and you need to screen and get him open.
Well, Magruder, averaging right around 13, has not made a shot from the floor. 2 free throws, his only points. The Wildcats have a chance here in the final 7:43. They need much more than that from Rodney Magruder. Gonzaga ball with the lead.
You heard that big cheer as we came back from break. They introduced Adam Morrison, who's in the building tonight.
Just a tremendous college player, huge scorer for Gonzaga.
Remember that 2006 season when they had UCLA on the ropes in the NCAA tournament and lost that game. Mark Few told me today that might have been one of his best teams.
Karnowski had an opening, didn't go over that shoulder. Stockton heaves one up, got the rim, and the hustle play by Eddie creates an extra possession.
What you like about Gonzaga, and they definitely have weaknesses, is they have excellent role players like Hart and Eddie, not afraid to do some dirty work.
Speaking of Hart, he'll come to the scorer's table to come back in. Rejection by Enriquez, but a foul. Fran referenced it, one of the all-time greats at Gonzaga anywhere, Adam Morrison, and this place just erupted when he stood up in the spotlight at the Key Arena in Seattle.
I mean, you think about that 2006 team with J.P. Batista and Rivio and Jeremy Pargo now in the NBA, Morrison. Mark Few told us today, he said every one of these teams, they're like his children. I don't have a favorite one, and I'm not sure who our best team is, but you know what he said? I'm just glad that we're pretty good every year.
And that is an understatement as Karnowski makes the free throw. Gonzaga just so much sustained success with this program in Spokane. Bulldogs shoot free throws much better tonight.
And Karnowski made one. He was 11 of 32 coming in.
Well, that has been a major weakness for the big man, the freshman from Poland. Magruder baseline. Finally got free of Mike Hart. A little opening for Rodney Magruder. His first basket from the floor. Pangos launches, hits the three. Teammates love it. Pangos with only 5. He's only shot 3 threes in this game. He's been more of a passer than a scorer tonight. Diaz baseline, cut off by Karnowski. Tries it again. Rebound. Hart was on the end line. That's out of bounds off Gonzaga.
Now take a look at this, Dave. This is almost a great screen by Diaz. Take a look at Diaz now, but this is what we're talking about. You've got to run Rodney Magruder off some screens to get him open. Watch him take off along the baseline, and then Hart's going to go over the top, then he gets back under, but at least Magruder has space to be able to knock down that mid-range shot.
And, Fran, that's the point you've been making all game in the Bruce Weber motion offense, that you have to have screeners try to get open looks for the scorers.
Well, you know, Bill Self told me that when he left Illinois and Bruce Weber took over, the motion offense was the perfect offense for that team because they had skilled guys like Darren Williams and Dee Brown.
Mike Hart grabbed the rebound, then got fouled. Magruder had a good look, missed the shot, but a better look than he's had. Free throws coming up for the Zags at the other end. Well, we've got a moment to remind you once again, Jim Boeheim one away now. Number 900 could well come Monday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Detroit and Syracuse could be the night for the great coach of the Orange, Jim Boeheim. Hart made a big impact in this second half with his defense, with his rebounding. Here's the list of coaches with 900 wins. Men's Division I all-time. Coach K, Bob Knight, and soon to be.
Coach K better not retire anytime soon because Jim Boeheim is right on his heels. But when you talk about Jim Boeheim, remember what I said earlier. He inspired Mark and Marcy Few to start a Coaches versus Cancer gala. Every August, they've raised $6 million in the fight against cancer. They're very proud of that at Gonzaga in the Spokane community.
Yeah, they've done a great job. I know you've gone up there to help Coach Few with that. Magruder through the lane, missed the shot. He's getting better looks now, still not scoring. The officials say off of Kansas State.
But you still like, I'll tell you what, let's see. That's probably off Diaz, but at least you like now that Rodney Magruder's getting into a comfort level as far as creating some offense.
Tough night overall for Rodney Magruder, 1 for 9. If he'd been getting those looks, those same looks earlier in the game, I think it would have been a much different day for him.
Now, you know, the way the Big 12 is right now, there's only one team that we call a really good team, Kansas. There's going to be such a battle in the league between 2 and 8 that Kansas State plays good enough defense that they're going to win their share of games, but they do need to get their offense flowing a little bit. They will. It takes time.
Olynyk back in the game, committed the offensive foul, and he'll be out of this game. That's going to be foul number 5 for Kelly Olynyk.
Now, this is something you see often if you're a Kansas State fan. This is the 56th charge that Will Spradling has taken in his Kansas State career. Coming at you, set, and then Kelly Olynyk, you like his mobility, but he just runs over Spradling.
He'll be gone for the rest of this game. Kelly Olynyk, undoubtedly one of the most improved players in all of college basketball. 20-point performance here, whistle against the Zags. And Kelly Olynyk, who redshirted last year to get better, he got better. 20 points, but he's fouled out.
I think the biggest area he's improved in is his physical body, his strength. This is a young man that's going to be part of the Canadian Olympic team or national program for years to come. And speaking of that, my good buddy Jay Triano is the new national team coach. Steve Nash will be the general manager. When you look at what Anthony Bennett is doing right now at UNLV and Pangos and Olynyk and Junior Cadogan at Marquette and so many other really good young Canadian players in college basketball. Right
Andrew
now.
Wiggins is lined up.
Oh, not bad. Andrew Wiggins
is hotly sought after recruit. Has not decided where he's going to play in college.
The #1 player ranked by ESPN in the class of 2013.
And I saw Anthony Bennett up close and personal about a week ago now, and he was just tremendous.
Well, he right now is the best freshman in the country in terms of how he's playing.
Pangos, Canadian native. What a move by Kevin Pangos. We're channeling Steve Nash a bit there.
He told me how much he learned from Steve at that camp in late August. And again, especially in the area of running a team and playing in pick and roll.
Rodriguez against Hart. Trying to use his quickness. A rejection by Dower. Diaz scores.
Good effort by Diaz. Again, good size on that front line. Kansas State with Henriquez and Diaz. We haven't seen Nino Williams in the second half because of his shoulder injury.
Omari Lawrence in the game, matched up with Pangos. Final 3:40 of this one in Seattle. Gonzaga with the lead. Hart open. No good on the three. Harris offensive rebound. Foul. I've been talking about the Canadian influence, the international influence on this Gonzaga team. What a talent, the sophomore Kevin Pangos. A spectacular move. Little sweeping hook off the glass. Bulldogs with the big lead.
Kevin Connors in studio. Florida, Arizona, about as good as we expected over on ESPN. Eric Murphy, 3 of his 10 to lead all scorers in the first half. But Arizona closed the half on an 8-0 run. Solomon Hill doing his part. They are now at the half. The Gators lead 32-29. Now back to Dave and Fran in Seattle.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And certainly that a headline game of the week. This one of them as well. Great atmosphere here in Seattle. Some of the headlines looking forward now a couple days, Fran.
Well, you see Jabari Parker, the outstanding player from Chicago Simeon, about to declare. We saw the Harrisons the other night, the twins going to Kentucky. Aaron Gordon from San Jose's Archbishop Mitty, very impressive as well. A lot of talent. But how about the Big East? I am so heartbroken, Dave, about what's happened. I coached in that league. I was an assistant and a head coach. The best basketball league of all time. Big Ten, Pac-10, Pac-8, ACC. Nothing like the Big East. And conference commissioners and college presidents, you are choking the golden goose. Football attendance is down. TV ratings are down. You are ruining rivalries. You're ruining reality TV. It's a shame.
Strong words, but I think warranted. As Southwell scores, we've seen the disintegration of not just the Big East and those great rivalries. Missouri, Kansas aren't playing anymore in college basketball, and there are many, many, many examples of it.
You're going to get a point. You see the Big East right now as constructed.
Bruce Weber, who's been walking the fine line all game long, just got issued a technical foul.
Now Kevin Pangos can shoot the free throws.
Now you get to choose.
That's
and
right.
Pangos hits it.
But you know, getting back to the Big East and the whole idea of conference realignment, we grew up watching Oklahoma play Nebraska, Texas play Texas A&M, Syracuse play Georgetown. Yes, it's great that A&M is in the SEC. You know, it's great that Syracuse is going to the ACC. But the story is really, to me, we grew up watching rivalries and Cinderellas. And we're getting away from that, and they're getting to a point where they're going to choke the golden goose.
Off the technical free throws, Gonzaga has the ball, pulling away from the Wildcats of Kansas State, who have had a tough game offensively. Gonzaga's offense and defense impressive in this second half. David Stockton, Gary Bell passed up the three. He draws a foul. Well, we're finished here in Seattle. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center, Jay Harris and John Buccigross. The big stories of the night, that Butler upset against the top-ranked Indiana Hoosiers. The Knicks, who are playing so well, looking to remain unbeaten at home without Carmelo Anthony. And our conversation with Josh Hamilton, the newest Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim. Huge news in the baseball world.
Yeah, but you know what? They've spent a lot of money the last 3 years and haven't found themselves in the postseason. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. How about LA right now between the Dodgers and the Angels? I know as a Giant guy, you got an interest in that.
Well, West Coast baseball right now is as exciting and fun as it can be. The big leagues out west that's where the action is right now. Lawrence draws a foul. The whistle's coming much more frequently here in these last few minutes, perhaps as the game started to get a little out of control, overly physical. A lot of fouls have been called, so the Wildcats are going to have to regroup. Kansas State has another tough game coming up soon. Gonzaga, meanwhile, Fran, they're going to be the authorities on the Big 12. They're going to be able to give us a pretty good idea about this league. Gonzaga is taking a tour of the Big 12 this year.
Well, they're going to go to 3-0 because they've already knocked off Oklahoma and West Virginia. They have Baylor coming up, and then they have a very, very tough game on New Year's Eve in Stillwater. Travis Ford has that Cowboy team playing very well. By the way, Kansas State's got a tricky game Tuesday night with Texas Southern. Mike Davis's team is pretty competitive. And next Saturday in Kansas City, Florida Gators.
Yeah, the Gators, who, as we just heard from Kevin back in our studio, have been playing well, and tonight have the lead on the road in Tucson against a top 10 team. Florida's been really impressive. A team that mixes some young talent but with a lot of experience. Gary Bell with the basket.
Well, we've seen Gary Bell attack that paint tonight, which is a very good sign because he's a multi-purpose kind of scorer.
Stockton, the lead bounce pass. Harris. Now Gonzaga is going to regroup. Transition has been a little ragged for Gonzaga tonight. They've had some points on the move, but they've had chances for more, been a little sloppy with the ball. I would imagine Mark Few wants to clean that up. Harris was thinking dunk. He'll use the finger roll.
As a power forward, he's as versatile as there is in the country right now. In some ways, he's Draymond Green-like because of what he does for Gonzaga. The defense, the rebounding, that's going to be off Spradling's foot unless Stockton,
The floor burn play for Stockton, and he did save it in bounds, but there wasn't a teammate there. And now the Wildcats get the open look, miss the shot. And that kind of night for Kansas State. Out of bounds off of the Wildcats. Gonzaga, of course, playing on that pre-conference tough schedule, but also in the West Coast Conference, trying to reclaim its spot. St. Mary's won the league title last year.
And you see the point guards. We've talked about Kevin Pangos, Matthew Dellavedova, who you and I both love at St. Mary's. Anthony Ireland, a very underrated guard for LMU.
Tremendous player down south. Turnover, sloppy play by the Bulldogs. And that will not make Mark Few happy. Final minute plus here. So it's not going to make a difference in the game. Harris and Pangos Along with Gary Bell on the bench. Tough night's work for the Bulldogs in Seattle. They're going to come away with a win, though, against a 7-1 Big 12 team.
Well, no disgrace for Kansas State. They're going to go to 7-2. Their 2 losses to number 14 Gonzaga and then a very, very good Michigan team. The best team, I believe, John Beilein has ever coached at Michigan, West Virginia, Richmond, so on and so forth.
He's had some good ones. And that Big Ten, even Indiana's lost today. The Big Ten, Illinois went to Gonzaga, beat the Bulldogs that we're watching tonight. Ohio State, another tremendous year for the Buckeyes. Michigan, Indiana is a good league.
Stockton plays like somebody I remember watching for a long time in the NBA, you know?
He does. It's impossible not to think about it when you watch him play. Avoided the turnover there. Shot blocked from behind by Omari Lawrence. 46 seconds to go, 4 seconds to shoot for Gonzaga. Good bounce back for the Bulldogs after that loss to Illinois. They have played hard and tough on defense. Stockton's got to get a shot off. Hit the rim, but couldn't hit the shot. Guinness commits the foul. And so we talked a little bit about the WCC. How about that Big 12? You mentioned Kansas may be the only really elite team in that league.
No question at this point. The Big 12 is in a cycle right now that has to go up. They've struggled in a non-conference, but certainly Marcus Smart, a surprise maybe nationally, but not to those of us who watched him in high school. In fact, Mark Few coached Marcus Smart this summer on the United States under-18 team. Billy Donovan was the head coach. How about this staff? Mark Few and Shaka Smart. Both Billy and Mark told me this summer that Marcus Smart is the best leader that they have ever been around. He led that team to a gold medal in the FIBA Americas, and he's certainly done a great job for Travis Ford so far.
Yeah, it's an interesting league, the Big 12 this year. In Kansas State, they have a great home court atmosphere at Bramlage Coliseum. The three way too strong, and an outlet pass for the Wildcats. On the move, Kansas State will score in transition. Lawrence with the layup.
And that should be it as long as Kansas State doesn't foul, but I think almost turn it over. Drew Barham, the transfer from Memphis, has already graduated, but has 2 more years of eligibility. Reputation as a really good shooter. He'll be a role player.
Stockton's going to hold now, and the final seconds will tick off the clock. The Gonzaga Bulldogs came across Washington State to Seattle and got a nice win against Kansas State, 68-52. Bulldogs impressive.
Very good defense. Offense maybe not up to their standards, but they played a good defensive team in Kansas State tonight.
Kelly Olynyk and company played very well here. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, top 15 team with another win against the Big 12. They beat Kansas State 68-52. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center, Butler's upset over Indiana. The guys will cover that for Fran Fraschilla, Dave Fleming. Good night here from Seattle.